Hi everyone, welcome to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in for the latest in news and politics this Thursday afternoon. And the latest in politics in Cranston with Cranston City Council President Michael Farina. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem, it's great to be here.
The big news, of course, announcing that you're running for mayor and garnering a big endorsement all within a few days' time. So thank you for joining us.
No problem.
So tell us a little bit the decision to run for mayor.
Yeah, so I've been in the council for about 8 years. This is actually my 8th year. I've been the president since 2016. We were thinking about this for a while, about 4 or 5 years. A year ago, we decided to start raising money, talking to people, deciding if it was the right move, talking to groups, really getting the buy-in from the people. And as we kept doing it, we kept getting more and more support. So we decided to run, and we announced about 2 weeks ago.
Made the announcement, got the endorsement of the firefighters. Let's talk a little bit about the city of Cranston in general. Looking for that top position, what do you think the biggest challenges are facing Cranston in 2020 and moving forward?
Yeah, so I think we've done a good job on the council and the mayor building a foundation for Cranston. I think our goal now is to really build in that foundation and try to create a better environment for our schools, for our people that work in the cities, and really for our citizens in general. Because we were in such a financial crisis back in the early to mid 2000s, Alan Fung really had to work to get out of that. So what you've seen is you've seen school buildings that need to be repaired. You see the fire department buildings need to be repaired. We need to catch up on a lot of roads and streets. So the foundation is there. We're fiscally solvent. Now it's time to move Cranston forward and continue to work and build on the foundation we have.
So talking about that, looking at those items on the agenda, how do you begin to think about tackling that if elected? Yeah,
so we're gonna have to make some tough choices as to what to fix. It's gonna be about a 10-year plan. It's not something that we can fix overnight. It's something we're gonna have to work and build. And really my hope is that once we get in there, we can figure out how to bond for the right amounts of money. I know the school department wants to bond for $138 million. Okay. That might be the right number, it might not be. As we work through that this year, we'll decide as the Finance Committee works on that. But it's really, how do we pay for it to ensure we're not raising taxes every year to just ask for more funds? That's really the key, how to balance that financial juggernaut we're gonna have over the next decade, which we will.
So if elected, what would you do differently than Cranston Mayor Alan Fung?
I'm more prone to take some more chances, I think, than Mayor Fung did. He was a great mayor for the 12 years he was mayor, but I like to say he was in maintenance mode for a lot of those years, trying to dig us out of the hole we were in. I look at things differently. I look at the city ice rink that really needs to be updated. I would want to try to borrow funds to build a new municipal sports complex there. I look at Western Cranston with the boom of housing going in Western Cranston. There's potential for another fire station. Do we need to build that in Western Cranston? How do we look at the complement of people that work in our city? When you go back to the number of police, firefighters, and teachers that are in our city, those numbers haven't really increased dramatically over the last 2 decades. But the city has. The city's grown to become the second largest city. How do we really work to build it so we can function better for the people?
And so let's talk a little bit about the endorsement from the firefighters. Of course, you just announced. Why do you think that they put their support behind you? And again, we might not know the whole field at this point.
We might not. So, we had a great meeting. I reached out to all the unions back in December just to say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about this. I'd love to sit down with your executive boards over the next, couple of 3 months as we get into Q1 of 2020. I plan on announcing. I just want to kind of socialize myself with you. The firefighters were very excited. I sat down with them about 3 weeks ago. It was a great conversation. We talked about my vision. I talked about their needs and kind of what I believe. And they bought in. So they were really excited to, they asked, they said, when do you want us to announce this? We've made the decision. And I said, well, whenever you want. We can wait a couple months. Like, no, we want to do it next week. I'm like, all right.
So they told you they didn't need to hear from anybody else, that you were the one that they decided that they were going to get behind.
Yeah, I think they know who's going to run. And based on the press release they put out, they said I'm the most qualified candidate and I'm the one they want to get behind.
So speaking of folks who are eyeing, obviously a couple other GOP candidates as well, Paplaskas, also Ken Hopkins. You're the council president. Is there any rift in the GOP in Cranston?
I wouldn't say there's a rift, but with an open seat coming and Alan being mayor for as long as he has, listen, I'll say it bluntly so people know, Chris and Ken are both my friends. So if they both decide to run, we're going to have a 3-way primary with 3 people who really enjoy each other, and it's going to be a different kind of primary than people are used to. No decisiveness. It'll just be, we'll get out there and make our proposals, and the people will decide.
Okay, speaking of people who might run, of course, Cranston Mayor Alan Fung's wife, Barbara Ann Fenton Fung, is being considered for potentially looking to eye a run in District 15 against House Speaker Nicholas Mattiello. Should she run?
Listen, everybody should run. If you think you want to be in politics, you should run. I don't put much credence into that rumor because every time Barbara Ann Fenton Fung is asked directly, she says, we have no plan. So I don't know if this is people just wishing and hoping. I don't know if this is just rumor and speculation, because if you remember, she was running for mayor for a year. So when Barbara Ann decides what she wants to do and she announces, then we'll see what happens. But I'm a firm believer that if someone wants to run for office and they think they can do a good job, they should run. That's why this is a great country.
Now, she's a Republican, you're a Republican. Speaker of the House, Nick Mattiello, is a Democrat. Is he vulnerable?
Everybody's beatable. Every politician, every elected official is beatable for every reason whatsoever. It's up to the person running to run a good campaign. If the speaker goes out there and runs a great campaign and gets his message out there and it's better than the message of his opponent, he should win. If his opponent gets out there and puts out a great message and tries to unseat him, then they got a shot.
So
it's tough in politics, because even me, like if I have a primary, if I don't get out there and do the work and talk to the people and really convince them that I'm the right candidate, the results won't go my way.
But obviously a lot going on up at the State House
yeah.
right now. What do you hear from your constituents? Obviously now you're eyeing, again, that mayoral position in the city. But of course, folks want to talk about state politics. What are you hearing from folks?
Yeah, I'm not hearing much negative. I'm hearing more apathy, more just disenfranchisement with the process in general. They see what's going on in Washington. They see what's going on at the State House. Cranston is an odd community. We're not all right. We're not all left. A lot of us are that third section of the populace where we just want good government. We want people doing the right things. We want our elected officials working for us. That's the majority of Cranston. So if our elected officials are working for us and there's crazy things going on in the periphery, like impeachment and I'll call it Moldgate and all these things, they're kind of just like, yeah, okay, who's getting the job done? Are they doing the right things for us? I would love to see us get away from this whole culture of left versus right and get really back to just doing business for the people. And that's why I really want to run.
Well, as again, you've straddled both sides of the aisle, if you will. Do you think that gives you a particular advantage?
Again, I don't try to be Republican or Democrat or independent. I just try to be Mike Farina. My goal is for everybody who meets me to say, Mike is just an honest, open, transparent guy. He doesn't lie. He doesn't pull punches. He will tell you the truth. And I will tell you, in politics, sometimes being open, honest, and blunt really comes back to bite you. But I'd rather be honest with someone and tell them how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking than a lot of them.
So you've got a couple of hats to be wearing in 2020, of course, still continuing to be council president while being on the campaign trail. Let's switch over to the council side. What are the big challenges and opportunities facing the council in 2020?
So Garden City was just sold. That's a pretty big deal for me. We just passed, or last year we passed a zone change to allow them to do a little more freedom in their development. There was a hotel on the plan. There was a lot of different things they wanted to do that we had some concerns over. We had a good working relationship with the prior owners and the prior management group. So that'll be the first thing we have to get with is what are the new owners' plans for Garden City? What do the abutting properties want to do now? Because the vision for the first owner might not be the vision for the next owner. So that I think is a big concern for us.
Have you talked to the new owners yet?
Initially, when I thought it was getting bought by the first people that had the bid, and I had talked to them, I got their vision, but then that fell apart. So now the new owners, we haven't spoke with. The only positive I will say is they're keeping 2 members of the old management group, even though the management group is moving on. There'll be some connections there, so we can set up some time as this deal closes, and I know it closed last week. So as they kind of get their sea legs, we're going to meet with them and talk and see what their vision is.
Okay, so Garden City big on the docket.
Big on the docket.
What else in the council?
I would say we're very interested in seeing what happens with Top Golf across the street, because that's a very big development. We're also looking at what's going to happen in different areas of the city as far as the education bond I brought up. That's a very big issue the council is going to have to take. We're looking at the Charter Review Commission, so we're looking at our charter. We try to look at our charter every few years to make updates to it. Being a presidential year, we don't know how much we're going to put in the ballot. We don't want to get voter fatigue, so that'll be a lot of debate and dialogue. It's a busy year.
Do you think there's an appetite for an education bond?
We need to fix the buildings in Cranston. I mean, statewide this is an issue, and the thing that makes it good now is that if we submit it and RIDE approves it and they approve our reimbursement rate schedule, we can get up to, I think it's 62 or 65% reimbursement. So that reimbursement is key. So if we borrow 130 million and we get 67 cents on the dollar back, that'll make it cheaper for the taxpayers in the long run. So now would be the time to try to push that bond forward. I've talked with Superintendent Nadamasi. She has a good plan. They built a good, solid roadmap for the future. So let's just hope that RIDE gives us the higher reimbursement rate, and that way it won't be as full of a hit to the citizens.
Okay, so while we have you in here again on that campaign trail, I mean, what do you think are really going to be the issues that are going to decide who the next mayor is of Cranston? Obviously, facing a Democratic challenger, as you said, you like to say no party labels the best government. But what are the things that are going to be at the debates that people are going to ask you about? And you talk about the education bond, but what's really going to differentiate the candidate who's going to be the next mayor?
I think it'll be the skills we all come to the table with. My background's in corporate. For a long time, I've worked for some of the largest corporations in our state in senior leadership and executive roles. I have a lot of skills in high-level negotiations, budgets, forecasts, managing large teams. So my skills are really built so I can be ready to lead day one. And I think that'll resonate well with the citizens of Cranston. And that'll be, I think, a pillar for my campaign as to who I am and what I plan on doing. Secondarily, it'll be more of how are we going to keep Cranston solvent, keep us on the straight and narrow, make the right decisions? And that'll be really the key, because it'll come down to, do you think that someone who has the skills and abilities to run the city is the right way to go, or do you want to go with someone who's really never managed something at this level?
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to come into the capital city here today and tell us a little bit more about your candidacy. I imagine we'll have the opportunity to talk with you moving forward.
I'm sure we will.
Okay. Council President Mike Farina, thank you for tuning in to Watch Go Local today for live here in downtown Providence. We'll be up shortly with more live here in downtown, so we'll see you in just a little bit. I'm Go Local News Editor Kate Nagel.